When LuoFeng returned to his room, he was still in shock. It took a while before he calmed down. How does that savage Rongjun know so much? LuoFeng thought, he actually knows so much about the Virtual Universe Company's 4 secret regions, looks like his background isn't simple either. This time, the 2 from the Ganwu Universe country that made it into the top 1000, LuoFeng and Rongjun, both came from their own starfields. They seemed to have no background. In truth, LuoFeng had received the Yun Mo planet's inheritance, and was considered a golden horned beast. And savage Rongjun, his background was obviously not simple either. Earth, Yangzhou City, West Lake Courtyard within the castle. Sitting in the tea room, pouring himself a cup of tea and taking a sip, his consciousness communicating with Babada. Babada, what's going on with the Virtual Universe Company's 4 secret regions? LuoFeng told Babada everything that savage Rongjun had told him before, and also told him the rules of the duel, simultaneously mentioning what happened in the plaza earlier. That group of idiots, they actually dared to doubt the Virtual Universe system? My god, their brains must have gone crazy. The Virtual Universe system is a heavenly being that can simulate all sorts of origin laws. Babada screamed. LuoFeng was speechless. Babada was obviously standing on the Virtual Universe system's side. That savage Rongjun was right. The Primal Region members, their positions are indeed very high. Babada said, to the Virtual Universe Company, those able to enter the Primal Region are all extremely rare absolute geniuses. Hence the Virtual Universe Company will spend large amounts of precious resources to nurture them. How much resources? As much as my teacher's wealth? LuoFeng asked. LuoFeng, you have to understand one thing. Babada said seriously, your teacher is indeed a very powerful undying, even the Black Dragon Mountain Empire has to lower their heads before him. However, your teacher, compared to the Ganwu Universe country leader, is on a completely different level. LuoFeng nodded. The Ganwu Universe country leader, that was an ancient being that had lived for trillions of years and established a universe country. And the Ganwu Universe country leader has to listen to the Virtual Universe Company. Babada said, 1008 universe countries who would dare offend the Virtual Universe Company. That is a true leviathan. For such a huge entity to nurture the geniuses of the primitive mystic realm, they have to have a strict plan. Their numbers are pitifully small. The amount of resources and wealth they spend. How can your teacher's assets compare? LuoFeng was silent. You have to broaden your horizons. You have to look far. Don't just limit yourself to the Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Don't limit yourself to just one universe country. Look to the entire universe. Actually, I know, from the day you succeeded in possessing the Golden Horned Beast, your path has been even further and more unpredictable than your teacher's. Babada said, of course, from what I know, entering the primitive secret realm is not a one-time thing. There is a competition system. The weak will be kicked out of the primitive secret realm, and there might be some geniuses in the absolute beginning secret realm who can enter the primitive secret realm. So, if you want to enjoy the best resources, you have to work hard. Because behind you, there are a large number of peerless geniuses eyeing your position. Once you relax, you might be chased down by others. LuoFeng's blood was boiling. Looking forward to it. Yes, this was the kind of life he was looking forward to. Those with abilities would rise, those without would fall. It was just that simple. Babada, even now I don't really understand. The primitive secret realm members, when they are only at the star level, they still have a guard team, and the leader of the guard team is even an undying. LuoFeng said, no matter what, that's an undying, a great undying. Yes, an undying is very great. Babada said. However, a primitive secret realm member is also a great being. LuoFeng, I'll explain it to you this way. Babada said, determining one's position isn't just based on strength, there are many other factors too. For example, the Virtual Universe Company has people in charge of business. Some of them are business geniuses or investment geniuses. Their strength is low but they still have high positions. Like the Universe First Bank's investment genius Fei Fei, the amount of funds he controls is incomparably huge. Even though his strength is weak, he has an undying protecting him. LuoFeng was shocked. Same logic. Just like that death god Bolin, yes, he is weak now. However, you have to understand, he is the universe's #1 genius in 10 million years. Only one in 10 million years. And 10 million years is the lifespan of a sector lord. 1008 universe countries. Every universe country has over 1 million sector lords. You can calculate how many sector lords have appeared in the 10 million years. LuoFeng held his breath. This death god Bolin, in terms of his value and position, you can imagine. Everyone who enters the primitive secret realm is the most important elite of the Virtual Universe Company. This is its foundation. Babada exclaimed, comprehending the origin laws is the easiest to comprehend during the sector lord stage. However, during the difficult star level stage, Death God Bolin's comprehension of the space laws has already reached such a level. Think about it, how high will his future accomplishments be? Without a doubt. As long as he doesn't fall. Then in the space laws he will definitely surpass your teacher. As long as he becomes an undying, he will be the pinnacle of undying, almost invincible. Babada exclaimed, and the space laws are one of the 2 most difficult origin laws. If he can become an undying, that would be terrifying. You have to remember, the difference between undying and undying is huge. That's why the Time Sector Lord had such ambition. It's a pity the Time Sector Lord didn't succeed. If he had, he would have become an undying. His strength would probably be close to your teacher's. Of course. The Virtual Universe Company's core is split into the 4 secret realms. From high to low, primal, absolute beginning, sky and land, apocalypse, many undyings are in the absolute beginning region. Don't be too ambitious. Just being able to enter the absolute beginning region is already a success. Also, the most important thing for you now is to deal with your first opponent Wu-Tei Siku. LuoFeng lifted his teacup and drank it all in one gulp. Wu-Tei Siku would be his opponent tomorrow. Dawn of the second day. In the plaza, 1,000 absolute geniuses were gathered. LuoFeng was in the crowd, looking at the distant tall three-eyed youth. His expression was solemn and he didn't make a sound. Obviously yesterday's events had dealt a huge blow to him. Night. In the distance, the 1,008 undyings bowed respectfully. In the distance, the green-robed, purple-scaled man nodded slightly. He then turned his head to look at the 1,000 youths and said, "Today is a good day. We will select the top 100, top 10, first and second place from among the 1,000 of you. Are you all prepared? Then let the battle begin." The green-robed, purple-scaled man looked down at everyone. With a wave of his hand, 100 huge arenas appeared in the central plaza. The edges of each arena were covered with black silk nets. At the same time, 200 young men and women, including Savage Rong Jun, Phantom Demon Jia Lai Xi and the rest, were teleported into the arenas. There were 2 people in each arena. Immediately, the powerful undyings and the geniuses and elites who didn't have the qualifications to participate all focused on Death God Bolan's battle. In one of the arenas, it was LuoFeng against Wu-Tei Siku. The silver-white arena had an area of about 10 kilometers. The black net enveloped the entire arena. Madman Luo Feng from the Ganwu Universe Country Black Dragon Mountain Empire. Rank 3 in the training grounds, famous for his madness under extreme calmness. A completely black skinny youth with thick lips stared coldly at the distant Luo Feng, shouting, "My training grounds rank is 113, I'll let you know, ranking means nothing. Cut the crap." Luo Feng carried the dark golden long rod on his back and stood on the dark cloud shuttle, floating in mid-air and shouting. "Very good." The skinny youth smiled. "After dealing with you, I'll be able to enter the sky and land region. After dealing with one more opponent, I'll be able to enter the absolute beginning region." Oh. A gust of wind blew and the skinny youth became a gust of wind and flew towards Luo Feng. It seemed slow but it was actually extremely fast. Luo Feng stood on the dark cloud shuttle and gazed at his opponent from mid-air. Information flashed through his mind. Wu-Tei Siku, nicknamed Fierce Wind, he uses a level 5 genetic energy weapon, the Illusory Blade. In battle, his blade attacks are extremely fast, merging into the wind and penetrating through every opening. It's incomparably ferocious and hard to defend against. Die. The skinny youth's eyes gleamed. Shio. The skinny youth, who was originally like the wind, immediately sped up. At the same time, the shadow blade in his hand immediately became a raging gale. Endless blade lights gathered to form a gale that engulfed the entire area. The blade lights and the gale wrapped around Luo Feng, leaving him with nowhere to hide. Luo Feng snorted coldly. He stepped on the dark cloud shuttle and instantly streaked across a mysterious trajectory. He actually managed to find a gap in the sword light that didn't seem to have any gaps at all, leaving behind 9 phantoms. This caused the skinny youth's expression to change slightly. To be able to escape like this, the 9 threads flow, described in the intelligence report, is indeed terrifying. The moment Luo Feng dodged the opponent's attack, the dark golden long rod on his back immediately shot out 5 beams of golden light, forming 5 golden illusory blades that appeared in mid-air. Go! Luo Feng stared coldly at his opponent, almost like he was staring at a dead man. Under the golden energy flow, it was as though 5 golden dragons were roaring and piercing towards the skinny youth in the middle of the tornado. Go and die. The skinny youth's expression was fierce, his eyes filled with desire. With a wave of his hand, a white light shot out. The white light instantly traversed a few hundred meters, instantly reaching before Luo Feng. It was actually even faster than the golden illusory blades. Luo Feng's expression changed. He desperately relied on the dark cloud shuttle to burst forth with its fastest speed. Simultaneously 16 shields appeared around him. When this white light suddenly shot over, Luo Feng was extremely calm, immediately making the best response. 1. Relying on the dark cloud shuttle to dodge as much as possible. 2. Relying on the soaring shuttle sword array to defend. 3. The dark golden long rod on his back shot out 4 beams of golden light that automatically formed 4 golden blades to block the white light. The 4 golden rainbows shot out from behind Luo Feng, almost like an inescapable net that blocked the white light. Dang! A crisp sound, causing the distant skinny youth's expression to change greatly. It's blocked. This was his ultimate move. He had bitterly studied it for a long time, comprehending the wind origin laws, creating this move that was infused with law comprehension. This move, the leaving blade, was infused with the wind characteristics. Its speed was extremely fast and its trajectory was ethereal, extremely powerful. It was his trump card. In the trial space, hidden weapons were useless, and in the 3 elimination rounds, the opponents weren't worth it for him to use hidden weapons. So, he had kept this hidden card in his hand until now. He was prepared to use this move to deal with the opponents who were unprepared. Trump cards, when no one knew about them, they were the most powerful. If one wasn't prepared, it would be easy to get hit. The moment someone knew, the opponent would naturally be prepared, the power of the trump card would be reduced. However, Luo Feng was too calm. Even though this move was sudden, Luo Feng was terrifyingly calm. Without any hesitation he made a series of responses. However, just the 4 golden blades were enough to block it. Unleashing the sword matrix and dodging techniques were of no use at all. Die. Luo Feng looked coldly at his opponent. The other 5 golden blades enveloped the skinny youth. His speed obviously couldn't compare to the blades. He was instantly pierced through. Wu Tewei could defeated. Luo Feng victory. Luo Feng landed from mid-air, looking at the white light that was blocked. It was a little silver-white blade. Those with the qualifications to make it to the top 100, indeed none of them can be underestimated. In the universe, spirit readers could control spirit weapons from afar, and fighters could use throwing weapons like javelins, hatchets, short swords, etc. In Earth's terms, this was called a hidden weapon. For a hidden weapon to be this strong, it was indeed rare. First victory, Luo Feng entered the top 100, his prize rose to 100 mixed elements, he could enter the Virtual Universe Company's sky and land region. Congratulations to the little fellows standing in the arena. The green armored purple scaled man stood in mid-air, gazing down at the 100 youths on the arena. Firstly, congratulations on entering the top 100, you can enter my Virtual Universe Company's sky and land region. Now we'll pick out the best 20 of you. According to the Virtual Universe System's selection, I'll announce a list of 20 people. Immediately, the 100 young geniuses who had just won became nervous. Although they had won, only 20 of them were qualified to fight in the next battle. The next battle was to select the top 10. Luo Feng stood in the arena where he fought earlier, looking at the green armored purple scaled man in mid-air, frowning. I didn't unleash my strongest trump card. My evaluation in the Virtual Universe System may be slightly lower, however, according to the Scale Armored Giant and the others, I should be able to rank in the top 10, then I should be chosen. Bolin. The green-robed, purple-scaled man began to announce the names of the 20 people. Gu Thru. Ai Qin. Wuke. Yifeng. Jia Lai Xi. Rong Jun. As the names were announced one by one, those who didn't have their names announced couldn't hide their anxiety. They were all victors and only 20 of them could participate in the next battle. Qian Shui. Luo Feng. Tao. The 20 chosen by the Virtual Universe System are the ones I announced earlier. The green armored purple scaled man smiled. I'll invite these 20 to rest and recover from the earlier battles. After a while, the next battle will begin. As for who your opponents are, you'll find out during the battle. In the plaza, a group of youths sat casually. Candida, congratulations on making it into the top 100. Don't say any more. Even though I've made it into the top 100, I'm not even in the last 20. The tall and sturdy Candida's face was filled with frustration and unwillingness, even though every single one of those 20 are powerful, and I don't have a guarantee of winning. However, if I don't truly fight, I still won't be satisfied. Candida, you may not be satisfied, but I'm the same. I don't even have the chance to make it into the top 100. The youths who didn't need to battle were casually chatting, everyone was interacting and getting to know each other because from today onwards, many of them would be in contact with each other for a long period of time, becoming companions. And there were 20 that were quietly in a corner. They were all quietly resting and adjusting themselves. Because very quickly, the most important battle was about to begin. The next battle was to determine the top 10. To be able to make it into the top 20, other than Death God Bolin, the other 19 didn't have a 100% guarantee of winning. Just who will my opponent be? LuoFeng's gaze swept his surroundings. 2 of the other 19 were also looking around. One was the Manca youth Wuke and the other was the fat giant carrying the blood axe Tao. The Manca youth smiled at Luo Feng, even waving his fist. That fat giant however glanced at Luo Feng, rubbing his ears. The arrangements for this battle haven't been made public, we'll only know when the battle begins. This is probably also a test of one's mental fortitude. Luo Feng didn't think anymore, closing his eyes, following his big brother and second brother's instructions, his mental state gradually entered a peaceful state, quietly waiting for the battle to begin. About half an hour later. Rumble, the entire plaza shook, 10 huge arenas floated in the center of the plaza. The arenas were covered in large amounts of black silk. Simultaneously Luo Feng and the other 20 that were resting were immediately transported into the 10 arenas. Within the arenas. Damn. What a tragedy. That blood axe Tao actually encountered Death God Bolin? We're all guessing who's so unlucky to meet Bolin. It's actually Tao, poor bastard. The other 980 geniuses who were watching the battle from afar all began to laugh. On the arena, the fat giant who had always been wild and unruly, Tao, was holding that terrifying giant axe. He was like a ferocious beast staring at the white-robed young man in front of him, but anyone could guess the result. Death God Bolin, that absolute genius that only appears once in a trillion years? Even the Virtual Universe Company, especially for him, increased the number of slots for the Primal Region to 2, Blood Axe Tao being able to defeat Death God Bolin was simply too low, unless he was the most terrifying genius that appears once in a trillion years. Gu Si Luo against Rong Jun? Gu Si Luo is ranked number 2 in the training space, an extremely perfect monster, there's no way he can be wrong. Out of the 20, only he has the right to battle Bolin. That Rong Jun meeting Gu Si Luo is over. There were many in the plaza staring at Bolin's battle against Tao's arena, however there were still many who were paying attention to the other battle. Hypnotist Jia Lai Xi against Madman Luo Feng. That Hypnotist has met Madman. These two perverts ran into each other. From start to finish, Hypnotist hasn't even made a move in every battle, he's just staring at his opponent and defeating them. I wonder if this madman can withstand it? Hard to say. Hypnotist is the most terrifying spirit reader hypnotist in this genius battle. Till now no one has been able to block his hypnotism. And when he unleashes his hypnotism he can even use his spirit weapon to do simple long-range attacks. The opponent in his hypnotism wouldn't even know how to defend and would be defeated. Till now he hasn't even used a spirit weapon. He's only been using hypnotism. One can only imagine how terrifying his hypnotism is. Don't underestimate Madman. I've seen his battle videos, so many of them I've never seen him panic. His eyes are always cold, almost as though nothing can affect his state of mind. Hypnotist is considered to have the strength of the top 10. Madman 2. These two meeting, it's going to be interesting. 10 arenas, 10 battles. Every battle was a tit for tat, compared to the fight for the top 100. This battle was the true pinnacle of this genius battle. In the arena, on one side was a skinny black-haired youth standing on a dark cloud shuttle, dressed in a dark gray battle robe, carrying a dark golden long rod on his back. On the other side was a tall and skinny black robed silhouette standing on a black light wheel. Both of them were spirit readers, but they walked the two main paths of spirit readers. One was a controller and the other was an illusionist. Controllers were more inclined to use their weapons to destroy the body, while hypnotists were more inclined to destroy the opponent's soul. It was extremely difficult for a hypnotist to have great accomplishments. However, the moment one succeeds, it would be terrifying. It was easy to become a controller, however to have great accomplishments was equally difficult. Madman Luo Feng. Hypnotist Jia Lai Xi's voice was hoarse. He said solemnly, "You have the strength of the top 10, however against me, you'll be excluded from the top 10. Very confident? Luo Feng smiled, his eyes gleaming even brighter. The two were waiting for the announcement. In the 10 arenas they were all waiting. The victor will enter the top 10. Little punks, don't get careless, your opponents are all very strong. The battles begin." The green armored purple scaled man said from afar, his voice resounding within everyone's ears. Almost at the same time, the battles in the 10 arenas erupted. Hypnotist Jia Lai Xi stood on the black light wheel, his eyes cold, his lips moving. A formless spirit energy ripple immediately reached before Luo Feng, invading his mind. The spirit energy's speed was simply too fast. While unleashing the hypnotist, Jia Lai Xi waved his hand. The black light wheel beneath his feet immediately became a beam of black light that sliced towards the distant Luo Feng's head. The first time. On the arena, it was the first time Jia Lai Xi's spirit illusion technique and spirit weapon attacked at the same time. A formless spirit energy quietly entered Luo Feng's consciousness. The sea of consciousness was vast and boundless. However, a pale golden giant tower almost occupied the entire sea of consciousness. This void tower had a total of 2 floors. This void tower was crystal clear and faintly glowed with a faint golden color. Faint mysterious patterns could be seen on its surface. It seemed perfect and flawless, protecting the core of the soul inside. Void Pagoda. 2 levels of pagoda. In the techniques passed down by the Unimo Planet Master, Luo Feng focused on Soul Imprint and Tower of the Void. Among them, Soul Imprint was created by his teacher. However, the more he delved into it, the more it leaned towards soul attacks. As the saying goes, every skill has its own specialization. Since he focused on the controller, his training in Soul Imprint naturally slowed down. He only trained the most basic, 10,000 blade Soul Imprint, to great completion, and was able to condense the Slave Imprint. On the contrary, the Void Pagoda was very important in Luo Feng's plans. A spirit reader controller may have a weakness in soul attacks, but his defense had to be strong. He couldn't allow himself to have an obvious weakness. Hence, he didn't dare relax at all. Moreover, the Tower of the Void was also a very powerful secret technique. Back then his teacher only managed to obtain it by chance, and before he died he only managed to train to the 6th level pagoda level. If he could train to the 7th level pagoda, according to his teacher's thoughts, he wouldn't have died in that calamity back then. One could only imagine how shocking the Void Pagoda's power was. Up till now 5 years had passed. Luo Feng hadn't relaxed at all. Along with some gold and space origin laws comprehension, he only managed to train to the 2-level pagoda level. The Void Pagoda was specialized in defense. Jia Lai Xi's void spirit energy invaded Luo Feng's consciousness, immediately touching the Void Pagoda. When it touched, it didn't attack forcefully. Instead, it spread out like a thin membrane, slowly touching the Void Pagoda. The Void Pagoda was in essence made up of spirit energy in a special order. It was incomparably intricate. However, it was still spirit energy. And spirit energy was infused with a thread of consciousness. The soul was in truth the amalgamation of countless amounts of spirit energy. As the void spirit energy touched the Void Pagoda, Luo Feng's consciousness fell into a terrifying spirit illusion. Just a moment ago he was still battling the hypnotist Jia Lai Xi, however in the next moment, Luo Feng's consciousness entered another scene. How could this be? Luo Feng stood in the air above the Pacific Ocean, looking at the distant 100 kilometers long ferocious beast wreaking havoc on Earth, creating a terrifying apocalyptic flood. Simultaneously, that absolute ferocious beast with 2 10 kilometers long fangs spat out flames towards the ground. The skyscrapers in the base city were reduced to ruins. People were screaming and running away. Sanzi, what should we do? What are we going to do? This is at least an area lord level beast. We can't beat it. Thunder God's voice rang out from his communicator watch. Third bro, hurry up and protect the last seed. Leave Earth and escape quickly. That's the last seed of humanity on Earth. Hang's face was filled with anxiety on the communication watch. Something's wrong. Wake up. Wake up. LuoFeng felt like he was dreaming when he was young. Even though he knew he was dreaming, he couldn't wake up. And right now he was in such a state. The main thing was that LuoFeng's consciousness was simply too strong, and with mental state training and the influence of the golden horned beast, LuoFeng's soul was incomparably cold, hence the first thing he realized was that he was in an illusion. Realizing was one thing, but waking up was the most important thing. Luckily the Void Pagoda had a tight defense against his soul core. Hence, even with Jia Lai Xi's spirit hypnotism, it could only affect him slightly, and not the depths of his soul. Wake up. LuoFeng's willpower let out a furious roar, and the entire illusion world began to shake. The illusion world shattered. LuoFeng was completely awake now. Different from the blurry illusion world, everything before him was incredibly clear. This was the true 100% simulation of the virtual universe. Xiao. The black wheel had already reached before him. Just in time. LuoFeng's eyes gleamed. Standing on the dark cloud shuttle, his speed burst forth fiercely, simultaneously shields appeared around him. As the distance was too close, he didn't have time to control the Nan Shen Armament. Dang. The black wheel slammed into one of the shields, knocking it away. It brushed past LuoFeng's arm, slicing through his armor and slicing off a large piece of his flesh. Fresh blood sprayed in mid-air, and LuoFeng himself had already dodged far away. Go and die. LuoFeng roared within, pointing at the distant shocked Jia Lai Xi. Rumble. 6 golden beams of light shot out from the dark golden long rod on LuoFeng's back, immediately forming 6 golden blades that pierced right before Jia Lai Xi. Jia Lai Xi's expression was still filled with shock. Impossible. Simultaneously a peculiar large amount of golden shards formed an armor around him. Ping 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 ping, 6 sword rainbows bombarded the armor like lightning, and then directly killed the phantom demon Jia Lai Xi in the black robe. There was an explosion and fresh blood flew everywhere. Jia Lai Xi defeated. Madman Luo Feng victory. Entering the top 10. The battle between the strong was just that fast. If LuoFeng had woken up any later, he would have been the one dead, his head sliced off. And the moment he woke up, it would mean Jia Lai Xi's death. How can this be? The eyes of the phantom demon Jia Lai Xi, shrouded in a black robe, were filled with shock. According to what the king said when he guided me, only that Bolin could remain unmoved by my confusion god's secret technique. The others probably wouldn't even be able to withstand it. I have absolute confidence in making it into the top 10, and even had hopes of making it to number 2. How could he, even if he could fall into the illusion and not be confused, to struggle out of it? That would require time. That bit of time was enough for me to kill him, but he indeed had defensive measures. That defensive spirit weapon armor could barely withstand a round of attacks from the 6 golden blades. However, LuoFeng's attacks were too strong, killing him. Strong defense. A spirit weapon attack combined with an extremely terrifying spirit hypnotism. 1 versus 1, he was an absolutely terrifying opponent. However, he still lost. Ichem? He lost? Jia Lai Xi lost? Many of the spectating geniuses were shocked. Jia Lai Xi's battle footage from before was simply too intrepid. Every time he didn't even use his spirit weapon. Just using his soul attacks, he killed his opponent within the illusion, and every time he had the absolute advantage. This time Jia Lai Xi didn't underestimate his opponent at all. He too thought Madman Luo Feng was a strong opponent. Hence, he used his hypnotism and spirit weapon together. However, he still lost. He went all out and still lost. Luo Feng actually won? In the distance, the 1008 Undying's eyes gleamed. In this battle, more than half of the 1008 Undyings believed that Jia Lai Xi would win, because they were very clear on how hard it was to train in hypnotism, and how terrifying an absolute hypnotist was. To be able to instantly wake up, how strong must his willpower be? How calm and collected. This punk, he's powerful. A 10m tall bull man Undying praised, his voice rumbling like thunder. LuoFeng's victory was out of many people's expectations. The main thing was that Jia Lai Xi had long been recognized by many Undyings, that only death god Bolin could withstand it. After all, his comprehension of the origin laws was so deep, his consciousness was influenced by the universe origin laws, he definitely couldn't be easily shaken. The stronger the fighter, the stronger his comprehension of the origin laws, the more terrifying his willpower would be. If anyone else faced Jia Lai Xi, their chances of losing were over 80%. Actually, within the list of 20, other than Bolin, the other 18 were all fearful of Jia Lai Xi. Even LuoFeng didn't have 100% confidence, he was just a little more confident. However, in the end, such a tough opponent was defeated by LuoFeng. In one of the 10 arenas, the white-robed youth with the blood blade on his back was the first to win. He turned his head and looked at LuoFeng's arena with shock. He frowned and said softly, "LuoFeng? LuoFeng." The green-haired lady Chen Shui, who had also won before LuoFeng, her eyes were filled with tears as she looked at LuoFeng in the distant arena. Yes. When LuoFeng won, there were only 3 arenas to decide the victors. It was Bolin, Chen Shui and LuoFeng. LuoFeng may have said it was slow, but in truth his exchange was extremely fast. Chi. Similarly, a green-haired youth with engravings on his face stood in the arena, revealing a smile. Big brother, big brother. Chen Shui cheered and shouted. Her brother Jiang Mo too had entered the top 10, this pair of siblings were both in the top 10. The victors of the 10 arenas all appeared one after another. Bolin, Chen Shui, LuoFeng, Jiang Emo, Lancelot, Wuka, Ai Chen, Long Yun, Ao Patela, and the last one. Rong Jun. Gu Si Luo's battle with Rong Jun was the longest out of the 10 arenas. Gu Si Luo was a perfect spirit reader controller. From the start of the battle, it had been under his control. As the overall second in the training, the warrior with the highest chance of entering the primal region, he actually lost to savage Rong Jun? Rong Jun won. Gu Si Luo actually lost? The person with the highest chance of getting second, Gu Si Luo, actually lost? The other 900 plus peerless geniuses who were spectating the battle were completely stunned. As for the 9 geniuses who had already won in the arena, they were all staring at the god of war, Rong Jun, who was covered in blood and looked like he had just walked out from the wilderness. What a strong blade technique. What a terrifying blade technique. Even the death god Bolin creased his eyebrows, and the others including LuoFeng found it hard to hide their shock. This blade technique. LuoFeng stared at savage Rong Jun, looking at that huge blade. His mind was filled with memories of that domineering blade that seemed like it could split mountains and break mountains. So his strongest point isn't his movement, but his blade work. LuoFeng stared at the savage youth Rong Jun, simultaneously recalling the scene from 5 years ago when he battled him. My true goal is the universe's overall number 1. That roar seemed to resound in his ears once again. Number 1? So this savage Rong Jun wasn't just bragging. Right, Rong Jun even knows so much about the virtual universe company's 4 secret regions. Obviously he's not a frog in a well. LuoFeng thought, he definitely knows the standards of the past top rankers, and since he dares to say his true goal is number 1, he definitely has some confidence. Before unleashing that shocking blade work, Rong Jun was recognized to have the strength of the top 20, and now he actually defeated Gu Si Luo. Top 5, he definitely has the strength of the top 5. The tall youth Ao Patela who was completely black as ink said softly. That blade work, it's simply. The green armored purple scaled man flew in mid-air. A formless pressure naturally caused the 1,000 human geniuses to look at him. Congratulations to the 10 victors, you've entered the top 10, your prize has risen to 1,000 mixed elements, and you can enter the absolute beginning region. The green armored purple scaled man smiled. This time's top 10 battles have been very exciting, a few punks have exploded and made me very surprised. The 1,000 youths and 1,008 undyings all obediently listened to the 9-blade knight speak. Bolin, Chen Shui, LuoFeng, Jiang Emo, Lancelot, Wuka, Ai Chen, Long Yun, Ao Patela, Rong Jun, congratulations to the 10 of you. In a while we'll choose the top 5 from the 10 of you, and the first and second will be chosen from the top 5. The green armored purple scaled man smiled. As for how the 10 of you will be split into groups according to the virtual universe system's rules, the 10 of you have won in different times, the fastest will battle the slowest, the second fastest will battle the second slowest, so on and so forth. Wow. The 1,008 undyings were all shocked, the 990 spectating geniuses were stunned too, even the 10 absolute geniuses who were about to battle were shocked. The chronological order was Bolin, Chen Shui, LuoFeng, Jiang Emo, Lancelot, Wuka, Ai Chen, Long Yun, Ao Patela and Rong Jun. In that case the fastest would fight against the slowest and so on. Bolin versus Rong Jun. Chen Shui versus Ao Patela. LuoFeng against Long Yun. Jiang Emo versus Ai Chen. Lancelot versus Wuka. The most dazzling savage Rong Jun actually ran into the terrifying death god Bolin. According to everyone present including the 1,008 undyings, they all thought that whoever ran into death god Bolin would definitely lose. Rong Jun ran into Bolin? LuoFeng looked at the distant savage. It's bad, even if Rong Jun's true strength is terrifying, if he explodes again his opponent is Bolin. Bolin far surpasses the rest of us. Rong Jun will definitely lose. As Bolin was simply too strong, it could be seen from the training space. Leading the others by an entire training tower, almost everyone sighed for savage Rong Jun. One had to know that the arrangements of the virtual universe system couldn't be changed, one could only accept it. Also, among the other 9, none of them wanted to run into Bolin, but eventually one had to. And this unlucky punk was Rong Jun. Rest for a while, we'll begin the arena battles later. The green armored purple scaled man's voice resounded within everyone's ears. Interesting, really interesting. 13. The 2 seedlings from your Ganwu universe country are both very powerful. Especially the one called Rong Jun. While the others are using the techniques created by their ancestors, this Rong Jun actually created his own. That blade technique, he infused the earth and space origin laws into it, its power is actually so strong. If he didn't meet Bolin, he could definitely make it to number 2. Don't praise Rong Jun like that, he is strong but the other LuoFeng isn't any weaker, his mentality and willpower is perfect within his generation, a person's willpower and mentality determines how far he can go in the future. In comparison, I'm more optimistic about LuoFeng. As for Rong Jun, he's actually only a star level now, still very weak, to create his own technique at this time is too early. First learn from the predecessors, at least by the time he becomes a sector lord, his horizons will be higher, his comprehension of the origin laws will be deeper, then it won't be too late to create his own technique. That makes sense. What you said isn't right either, that Rong Jun's own technique, even though it's just the beginning we can already see how strong it is. And his own technique, when unleashed, its power will be even greater. What others have is still theirs, it's not as good as your own. It's too early, now isn't the time to create his own technique. Around the scale armored giant, the other undyings all began to discuss. The scale-armored giant creased his eyebrows looking at the distant two youths Rongjun and LuoFeng, his eyes filled with joy. These two punks really surprise me time and time again. 1008 universe countries competing in the top 10, there are actually 2 from our Ganwu universe country. Haha, if the country leader finds out, he'll definitely be very happy. In the plaza, the 1008 undyings and the 990 geniuses were constantly discussing. However, the 10 youths that were about to battle were all waiting quietly. At the start, they felt a little pity for Rongjun, after which they all began to observe their opponents. Long Yun. LuoFeng looked at the distant silhouette. He was about 2 m tall, his body sturdy, dressed in a rather peculiar heavy armor, on his head was a bullhorn helmet, his gaze deep and unfathomable, the side of his face even had some yellow fur. He was Long Yun, a low-profile youth from the Lanting universe country. He had never attracted anyone's attention. At the start, the 1 million geniuses had just gathered like Hypnotist Jia Lai Xi, Manka Prince, Aogu Sea Planet's genius siblings, Savage Rongjun etc. Many had long since become famous. However, no one had paid attention to Long Yun. In the training grounds, even though he was in the top 100, he was still below 50. As for making it into the top 100, Long Yun's victories were simple. Still very inconspicuous as everyone else's victories were simple. Making it into the top 10, Long Yun's victories were very strenuous. This Long Yun's strength? LuoFeng's heart jumped. Right, I really haven't paid attention to him before. Normal low profile. This was Long Yun. And this seemingly normal punk had actually made it into the top 10. LuoFeng. Savage, who sat not too far away from LuoFeng, communicated through genetic energy. What's the matter? LuoFeng looked over. Be careful of Long Yun. Savage communicated through genetic energy. According to my observations and the information I've gathered before, of the top 20, 19 have comprehended 2 origin laws, only 1 has comprehended 1 origin law. LuoFeng had stepped through the door of gold and space. Rongjun had stepped through the door of earth and space. The others were the same, like Death God Bolin had stepped through the door of wind and space, like Yifeng had stepped through the door of wind and wood, like Aichen had stepped through the door of light and time. Of the 19 who have comprehended 2 origin laws, 8 have stepped through the door of space, 6 have stepped through the door of time, 5 haven't comprehended either. However, no matter, these 19 have all stepped through the door of 2 origin laws. Only 1 person has comprehended 1 origin law, that's Long Yun. Savage communicated. Ah. LuoFeng was shocked. He really hadn't gathered so much information in the history of the entire universe's 1008 universe country genius battles. Those who could make it to the top 20 had all comprehended 2 origin laws, either space or time. He has comprehended the Earth origin law. It's thick and heavy, it's extremely strong in defense and attack. It's much more terrifying than just me using the Earth origin laws. Be careful. Rongjun communicated. Thanks. LuoFeng communicated. No need, my chances of winning this battle aren't high. If you can win, I'll be very happy. Rongjun said. LuoFeng looked at Rongjun, smiling, communicating, do your best, who knows, you might be able to defeat Bolin. Ah, who knows? I won't admit defeat so easily. Rongjun also laughed. Half an hour later. The original arenas in the central square had long since disappeared. At this moment, 5 even more exquisite and luxurious arenas appeared with a rumbling sound. The light barrier on the arenas was a huge translucent membrane. The membrane reflected the light from the balls of light in the sky, and it was very beautiful. As for the 10 human youths, they were all transported into the arenas. Rongjun against Bolin, LuoFeng against Long Yun. The 5 strongest pinnacle battles were about to begin. On the beautiful embroidered arena, LuoFeng and Long Yun faced each other. Long Yun's entire body was dressed in a thick battle uniform, with a bullhorn helmet on his head. With a flip of his hand, he retrieved a terrifying huge axe, his eyes staring coldly at LuoFeng. He was a standard strength type fighter. LuoFeng, with his skinny physique, stood on the dark cloud shuttle, carrying the Nan Shen Armament on his back, a standard spirit reader controller. You are very strong. A thick and low voice, almost like a bull's roar. Long Yun looked coldly at LuoFeng, emphasizing, you're much stronger than the ones I've met before. To show my respect to a strong warrior like you, I'll use all my strength and defeat you immediately. The moment his words landed, his body began to emit a yellow energy flow. This energy rippled, the surrounding space seemed to solidify. A strange stifling pressure, causing the distant LuoFeng's expression to change. Big sick. Monster. This. Crazy. This Long Yun, he's really sinister, extremely sinister. The spectating 990 geniuses were all shocked. Even the 1008 undyings in the distance were all paying attention to this battle. Many of them revealed expressions of shock.